Can a priest become possessed by a demon? What happens if I drink the blue water you can only find at mini golf courses? All of these questions you can find the answer to on This Paranormal Life! Hello, commune, and welcome back to This Paranormal Life, the comedy paranormal podcast where every week, myself, Rory Powers, and my associate, Kit Greer-Malvena, investigate a brand new paranormal tale and decide by the end of the podcast, once and for all, whether or not it is paranormal.
Konbanwa.
We are so excited to be back with you on a Tuesday, diving into a brand new paranormal story. Kit, are you feeling ready for the day? Are you ready to enter the jungle?
Oh, shit. Yeah, I am.
Too bad, because we ain't in the
What?
jungle today.
Oh.
Yeah.
Can I have a clue of... Because I kind of need to pack for where we're going mentally.
It's one of those mystery holidays where
hard,
you don't know where you're going.
hard to be ready then. As soon as you asked if I'm ready or not. Look, I've got a hot cup of mint tea.
Okay.
Which is, so I'm good. I'm anybody's, frankly. I'm good to go.
Yeah, it's quite chill vibes in the studio today because we're recording this one just after lunch.
We had a little bit of a team lunch, sure.
Yeah, we have. Editor Phil and I have been experimenting with kind of a new concept that we invented just last week.
Okay.
Which is it's a little thing called double lunch.
Okay. Not leaving tons to the imagination there, but I'm going to go ahead and guess you eat 2 lunches.
Yeah, that's more or less. But here's the twist.
Yes.
In one lunch break.
Yeah.
So it's not like 2 lunches in 2 days. You eat a lunch, and then you eat a second lunch right after the first one.
Right. How's that going for you?
Really bad.
Yeah.
My heart rate has slowed by several BPMs. And it's sort of whenever I get back from double lunch, I don't have single dinner.
So you're actually really just advancing dinner to the point where it's minutes after lunch.
Yeah, I can't even look at food after double lunch or I'll be sick.
Yeah. Weren't you last when I spoke to you on the warrior diet?
No, I don't know what that is.
Eating once a day?
Oh, no, sometimes that's just how I live my life. That wasn't by conscious choice.
Okay.
I just accidentally end up eating triple lunch and then I don't need any food for the rest of the day.
And lunch is fine. I don't know who's that passionate about lunch.
Yeah, it's really one of the worst meals of the day.
I think you're just trying to not work, I think is what it is.
I come in, put my bag down, lunch 3 times, and then go home, I reckon. That sounds like a busy day.
Yeah, I'm kind of into biohacking.
Look, let's dive right into it. But first, a quick word from today's sponsors and a reminder that you can get every episode of this podcast ad-free over on patreon.com/This Paranormal Life. Okay, Kit, the year is 1973, and we're in Falkville, Alabama.
Bill.
Falk.
All right, hey, I thought you'd have to buy a girl dinner before you start talking like this to me, but you know what? I'm down. I'm DTF. Down to go to Falkville.
Falkville. F-A-L-K.
All right, so you're saying it with a European accent. That's fine.
Now I have to double check it's not Foxville. I'm pretty sure it's Falkville. Yeah, Falkville. It's a real place. That's a good start. The place is real.
Yeah, where is Falkville, Rory?
It's in Alabama.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
It was late at night, and Chief of Police Jeff Greenhaw was home with his wife, off duty, getting ready to wind down for the evening. Well, he was home with his wife when the phone started to ring.
Is this the Chief of Police?
That's right. Jeff Greenhaw speaking.
I need help. There's something weird floating about in the sky around the back of my field. And my lord, if it's not careful, it's gonna hit the power lines.
Something in the sky?
Hurry, you gotta get down here.
Jeff grabbed his coat and headed out to investigate the field where the object had reportedly been seen. Now, when Jeff arrived at the location, he didn't expect to find anything suspicious. I mean, to be honest, this whole call reeked of a prank. Someone calling after hours, talking about something flying in the sky. But as he pulled up to the field, he couldn't believe what he was seeing. Out there, in the open, was a mysterious figure, around 6 foot tall, made entirely of metal. Jeff said, "At first, I thought I was dealing with an idiot." But he quickly realized this was no joke. He said the figure was wearing reflective material that he couldn't identify. It looked like aluminium foil, but it was all just one big sheet, no gaps or creases. The creature's head and neck seemed to be joined together, and the metal suit changed color depending on the angle of the light.
Good God, man.
Have we ever heard of anything like this before?
Not really.
Really bizarre.
As you say as well, you know, this thing could have been a prank. I'm surprised back then he didn't just lay down the law with that woman and say, look, you said it was in the sky. That's not my domain.
Right.
We've said it before. The police mostly only deal with things on the ground. And we should have a separate sky police for things that are in the sky. I've been saying this for years.
That's why whenever I commit crimes, like just stealing money from people on the streets, I always jump right when I do it.
Yeah. And
so I'll go up to someone, I'll jump and go, give me your money. And they're like, what? And I jump again, give me your money.
Yeah.
Because I'm technically not committing the crime on the ground.
Yeah.
So the police have no jurisdiction on me. It's the sky, it's an air marshal that needs to come and arrest me.
They see you jump and they're like, where the f*** did he go? Where'd he? Oh, he's back. Where'd he go? He's back.
Give me your money. I'm so out of breath by the time the robbery's done, I can't even escape.
Not everyone knows that. If you commit the crime in the air, that was technically it's almost like international waters. It wasn't their jurisdiction.
Well, Jeff is now stuck out in the field looking at this thing. Jesus Christ, what is that thing? Howdy, stranger. Who are you? What are you doing out there? The figure began to move slowly, in strange, jerky movements that didn't resemble any human Jeff had ever seen. Jeff wanted to see just how reflective the metal material really was, so he decided to turn on the patrol car's blue lights. But as soon as they came on, the Metal Man started running.
Oh no.
His body almost immediately exceeding superhuman speeds.
Oh, whoa.
Jeff said the Metal Man moved so quickly, it was almost as if he was bouncing on springs.
Interesting.
That could have been the end of the story, but Jeff wasn't about to let this thing get away. He jumped into his cop car and immediately gave chase, quickly reaching 35 miles per hour in hot pursuit of the Metal Man.
Not that fast.
All units, this is Greenhaw, in pursuit of a Metal Man. Need backup, ASAP. Later in an interview, Jeff said, I decided to chase it down, and if I had to, run it over.
No, bad police work. This is before presumably a lot of reforms in the police world.
Right.
Run the suspect over.
It's a Metal Man. They don't have feelings.
We don't know that. The first thing he said was it looked like it was a man in aluminium foil. So a man. And also, even if it were a Metal Man, the key word in that phrase is man.
Right. There's still an ounce of human there.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if Jeff just absolutely hammered into this thing at 90 miles per hour and he was like, it's okay, everyone. It doesn't have feelings. And the Metal Man is under the car like, ow, ow, ow. Why was I programmed to feel?
Tell my wife and children what happened to me.
Losing battery. Wow, 35 miles per hour.
My name is Peacebot 3000. I was here to learn about humans, not to feel their wrath. Hard drive failing, memories fading. Cure to cancer, gone forever.
Pain receptors working 1000%. They program me to feel extra so I could relate to humans.
Why do doves cry? Why do...
Is that a song? Is that lyrics?
Shut up. Why?
Shut up. I'm dying. Respect Metal Man's final words. Cure to cancer. Wiping. Jeff blasted down the road, heading through a panic now, trying to... Oh God, no! The chase was too much for Jeff, and before he knew it, his cruiser had crashed on the side of the road. What Jeff Greenhaw had seen that night would go on to become known as the Falkville Metal Man.
Whoa.
That's right. Welcome to today's story, Kit. We are investigating and the Metal Man. You can't see it if you're just listening to the podcast, but I'm doing the robot.
Yeah.
Pretty well, too, if I do say so myself.
It's the first time we've ever attempted that. That much is clear. Yeah, would have thought that the Metal Man of Faulkville was maybe an adult entertainer or something.
A sex robot,
yeah,
for sure.
For sure. Very interesting. Yeah, this is crossing a lot of paranormal lines, across a lot of taboos. We've never really seen anything like this, I don't think.
Well, Kit, you are currently This Paranormal Life's resident UFO expert. Does this ring any bells for any other stories that you've covered before? A Metal Man?
I do feel put on the spot now because I think we almost certainly have come across at least one story before which involved some entity that is cybernetic, some kind of cybernetic organism. You know, it's one of the leading, I suppose, sci-fi theories of life in this universe is that if life becomes advanced enough to actually create spacecrafts, and if we're talking about life from other planets, then the first thing they would do is create pretty much intelligent robot life.
Right.
Much safer. We've already done it as humans. Much safer to send robots out into the world. So it is entirely possible that robots that are more sophisticated than ours... listen, ever since being a small child, I'd say me and you, Rory, both lads of the 90s, since small boys obsessed with robots. And we've said it before, we thought robot butlers were just around the corner. I mean, you had a robot butler.
I did have a robot butler, Scooter 2000.
But like better butlers than... Like Scooter 2000 was... He tried his best, but I mean like actually good robot butlers.
Watch your mouth. You're actually on thin ice for that one. Because Scooter 2000, sure, he could barely carry a cup of orange juice into the living room.
Yeah, you had to load the orange juice onto his little tray.
And yeah, his wheels very often got caught in the carpet and he couldn't make it back. And yeah, the only way he could talk is if I talked through the remote.
And you had to remote control him.
Like I had to control him.
So he had no autonomy at all.
But now, he's a free bot, I think. I don't know what happened to him.
He's in landfill, I think. I enjoy that. I think it was a few years back, the Daily Mail was running a headline saying, we'll have sex bots by 2025. And it showed a woman sleeping next to a big handsome robot. And so ever since then, people on the internet have been like, in the run up to 2025, they're like, guys, 2 weeks left till the sex bots. So far as I know, can't say I've spent a lot of time Googling it. But I haven't seen evidence of that.
We were doing the podcast for free for a long time when we first started. And then I saw that article and I was like, we need to make a Patreon. I heard they're right around the corner, brother.
I'm going to need checks notes, $6,000 real quick.
Scooter 2000 comes in the room. What are you looking at, master? Nothing. Get out. Close. Shut up. Go get me an orange juice and an Oreo.
Scooter 2000 wearing a bra.
And a wig.
You're like mother of pearl.
She's beautiful. Fun fact, I don't have a Roomba, but I have a cheaper non-name brand robot vacuum cleaner that goes around my apartment, and I called him Scooter 3000.
That's cool.
He's like the legacy version of my original
Scooter
robot
2000
butler.
would kill himself if he heard that he'd been replaced. He would pour the orange juice into his circuits.
Into his own eyes. Kill himself. Like most paranormal witnesses, Jeff spent a brief period of the aftermath retelling his encounter to reporters and local news, who were all obviously very skeptical of his claims. And once again, like in too many of our stories, a man's life was ruined by a paranormal experience. He said after telling the police, he was fired from his job. And not long after that, his wife left him after not believing his story.
Wow, Jesus.
In later years, Jeff said, I withdrew myself from the public for years. The only thing I found out is that I really couldn't trust anyone. I turned out to be a person I never dreamed I would be because of what happened. I came close to losing my sanity. I'm still a believer in life after death, and at one point, I didn't believe there was any other life source in the universe. But that really changed.
Jesus, all out from seeing a metal man running away.
How metal was this man?
I mean, okay. But let's try and...
This is just to highlight how dramatic and traumatic this experience was.
Well, sure, but I'm just saying I feel like he's reading into this scenario, understandably, because it happened to him more than I am. So tell me, what does he make of it? Clearly he thinks that this is, he thinks that it's from another planet or something, which is why he believes in a creative force in the universe.
Yeah, even though he said he didn't see a UFO that night, other people did. His description of the Metal Man, about like the metal changing color, the way the light hit. I think at one point he maybe said it was like almost a little see-through.
Yeah.
It's like, I think we're laughing at the idea of it being a robot in a field, but I believe the experience was a bit more paranormal and weird.
Yeah, sure.
But maybe the craziest part about this story isn't the Metal Man showing up in 1973. It's the fact that he's been showing up for over 200 years.
Really?
Jeff Greenhaw's sighting was the most recent, but we're about to discover today that people have been seeing the Metal Man throughout history.
He doesn't have a heart.
He lives forever.
He lives for longer than 80 years, guys.
It's time to dive back into the past, 172 years. While investigating a diary from the late 18th century, this is how deep we're going today. You didn't see this one coming, did you? Researchers discovered a bizarre entry. The diary belonged to Henry Albert Brand, a bookbinder who lived and worked in Hampshire, in Portsmouth here in the UK. And the diary started like any other. It documented Henry's various trips in and around the country, as well as personal history and local stories of interest. But on September 6th, 1798, there was an entry in the diary unlike any other, one that left researchers speechless.
It's a good thing that this diary entry was found from, you said, the 18th century, because if we had to look through people's diaries today for paranormal information, it would be horrible. It would just be unreadable. It would be like hustle bros being like, 5 a.m., wake up, infrared sauna, 5:10, ice bath, 5:15, eat first portion of gruel infused with 5-HTP. Then I do 600 squats before 6 a.m. It would just be like, bro, get to the point. We get it.
Whereas
You're
the
a
old-timey,
douchebag.
diaries is just like, woke up, don't know when. It was, woke up, light outside, breakfast was bread and soup. Might have that later for double lunch.
Rory's like, so the stories are true. It really is an ancient belief.
Well, there you go. This makes it, no indication as to where this story is going right now, but that makes it extra more dramatic when the everyday life is that tame. If you turn to one page and the headline is Metal Man.
Yeah.
I saw him right between first soup and dinner soup. The entry stated that on the 6th of September, 1798, a local vicar had run into town screaming, "Everyone, gather round! I don't know how to tell you this, but I've just seen a Metal Man!" That's right. The vicar claimed that while walking along the county lanes near Farrington, he had seen a 4-foot-tall, metalloid man with a sturdy, muscular body and a large, bulky head. His eyes were described as being like bright, polished shillings, glistening in the midday sun. Maybe most bizarre of all, the Metal Man had no mouth, no nose, and no ears.
Makes sense. He doesn't need a mouth. He doesn't eat anything.
He also had no clothes.
That's fine. Did he have a metal,
A metal wang?
Yeah.
I don't know. The vicar did not go into extreme detail.
I wouldn't have asked that, but you just said he has no clothes, and you looked at me as if it was like, you know what that means. It's like, I don't know what that means.
Well, as you said, he's part man. He's running around in public. This was back in the time where showing an ankle could land you in prison.
Yeah.
That was a little too sexy for the vicar.
If
you show up down at the streets with your little metal dick out, 4 foot tall, yeah, you're going to prison, buddy. The good thing you have no neck, because they try and hang you day one.
I'm picturing Bender from Futurama at this point.
Honestly, people have theorized that Bender was based off of the stories of the Metal Man, the Falkville Metal Man.
Okay.
Very kind of similar. That, yeah, no neck, just kind of a robot body, but like a really chunky, bulky head. The diary went on to detail the panic that this caused in the town. And a reminder that this is 1798. This is before even the Victoria era in Britain. That's how long ago this is.
Right.
I also love that the person who saw this just happened to be a vicar. Like, that must have been really hard for him to run into town and whip everyone up and be like, "Everyone, gather round, gather round." I've witnessed a miraculous event spontaneously appear before me. You know, someone from the cloud is like, was it Jesus? No, it wasn't Jesus. But it was someone appeared in front of me. Was it the Virgin Mary? That would make sense. That would make sense, given our beliefs, that it would be the Virgin Mary.
Was he from heaven? He said he was from Falkville. I think that's what he said.
You know what? This is gonna go way quicker if I just introduce him. Here he is.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Everyone just starts screaming and panicking.
I mean, it is funny as well because, like you say, Christians of all faith are also some of the only people, in theory, hanging around waiting for a guy to appear.
That's kind of their whole thing.
That's their whole thing.
And they kind of sell you the idea that he's coming any second now.
Yeah.
So you got to be ready too.
So there's something funny about the vicar chilling and just someone comes into his peripheral vision. And he's like,
Get back in the river, mother.
No.
Yeah. It's like, I've been waiting my whole life for the sacred man to appear. Not you. Not you. Gonna pretend like I didn't see that.
What is that angelic voice I hear in the distance?
Hello.
Not what I was expecting him to sound like.
Vicar, it's me, the man you've been waiting for. I've been receiving your prayers from Garcon 4.
Yeah,
I came
That's where they've
from
been
the clouds.
That's where my prayers have been going.
Affirmative.
Imagine that's how we communicated with aliens. They were receiving all our prayers.
They come down a ship. Stop praying. We hear it every night. It's so annoying. The Broncos aren't going to win the Super Bowl. You don't have to pray about it. We don't even know who they are.
And no, bigger dick is not an option. We don't have the power to do that. We don't think anyone does.
You're not getting a bigger dick, Vicar. His head's down.
I think the prayers got scrambled because there's no way that was me.
The Metal Man's like,
We don't even have dicks. How could we make this work?
not you. Back in the river.
I know, imagine that. It's like,
We have been collecting prayers for 900 years. Most of them were about penises. So we spent a lot of time perfecting that technology.
it's like, surely not. Surely people prayed about other stuff.
We've been collecting them for 1,000 years. We're finally ready to start helping. First up, Jeremiah wanted a good harvest. Where are you, Jeremiah?
It's like, we die. Humans don't live that long.
Oh, shit. Oh, Bill. Prayer 2, Moses wanted a boat. Moses, come forward, please. We've got you a dinghy. It is metal but durable. Prayer 3.
Yeah, they're doing it in order.
The first 3 prayers.
Yeah, I love
Prayer
that.
3, Ezekiel wanted bread.
Yeah.
Ezekiel, come forward.
They're all gone. You must know.
Yeah.
That's prayer 4.
I love that.
Prayer 4, Moses asked us to deliver the Jews from Egypt.
He kind of did that one himself.
Very good. Prayer 5. Ezekiel the second wanted more bread.
Look, it's funny to laugh about the Metal Man or Metal Men, but what we're seeing here is a pattern of paranormal activity. Not just him appearing in a diary hundreds of years ago, but also in the future. And guess what? That wasn't even the only time he was spotted, because we have even more sightings of the Metal Man, and it's detailed in the same diary.
Right.
Let's dive right in. That's right, if he wasn't terrifying enough the first time he showed up, the Metal Man showed up again. Later in Henry's diary, he detailed a second encounter by a young farmer's maid. The woman claimed that she was working out by Tipner Lake, enjoying a relaxing evening, when all of a sudden she saw with her own eyes, quote, a man of metal flesh rise out of the waters of the bay.
Okay. Metal flesh feels a lot different to covered in aluminium foil, I'll say.
Yeah, there's a lot of different interesting terms being thrown about to describe what this thing is.
This is now giving T-2000 liquid metal robot from the future.
Yeah, and I want to point out, some people call him the Metal Man, some people call him a man with metal flesh, other people call him the Copper Man, because I think depending on where he is and the way the light hits him, it gives a different... Yeah, you know, I don't have to explain it. Kit, not only did the Metal Man emerge from the lake, but this woman claimed she saw him walk several meters on the surface of the water before sinking back into the lake.
He is the second coming. He's walking on water.
Hey, Vicar, check this out.
Now, at this point, the researchers who discovered this diary obviously came to the conclusion that Henry Albert Brand was insane. Which is a valid thought. I guess if this is happening in a diary, you're like, oh, the person who is writing this was losing his mind. Sure. We have an unreliable narrator, essentially.
And also, we've talked a bit before about how, like, you know, paranormal experiences, when they happen through the ages, they get filtered through the cultural context of the time. That's a wordy way of saying, you know, depending what you believe, it's going to shape what you see.
Yeah.
And I don't know at this time whether England was Protestant at this time, but...
yeah, 1798?
I guess so
1800s,
then.
yeah, would have been.
Because we know that in the Catholic faith, there is, at least in modern times, there's a different attitude towards strange occurrences. It feels like, you know, if the Catholic Church and the Protestant Church are like two different animes, the Catholic Church is the one that just they'd make every spin-off event canon.
Right, everything.
You know, no matter how incongruous they all are, everything legit happened. They're like, oh, you saw a bug with the face of Macaulay Culkin? That's a miracle.
That's a saint.
Let's write it in. Yeah. Bug face. He's a saint from now on. Whereas I think in Protestantism, it's more of like, you saw a bug with the face of someone? You're a witch.
Right, we're going to kill you and the bug.
You know, okay, maybe that's an exaggeration, but I don't think they're as keen into like writing it into the history books as like a miraculous event.
Yeah. I'm surprised that the Metal Man wasn't made a saint at some point. But does that help today's case, knowing how deeply religious the population was at this time, that they would probably try and twist anything into having some sort of biblical implications? They have literally no choice but to write in their diaries, I wish it was Jesus.
Yeah.
I wish it was the Virgin Mary. It was a Metal Man.
Yeah. Virgin Mary was piloting a mech, I think.
She had a Gundam. It was insane.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is compelling. I think it feels alien enough, pun not intended, to their way of life that it feels more believable.
Yeah. Well, hey, if we are worried potentially that this diary of accounts is unreliable, imagine researchers' shock when they discovered it wasn't just Brand who had written about the Metal Man. Only years later, they found a letter written in 1801 by a man named Dr. Geoffrey Bramwell, who lived in the same area where the Metal Man had been spotted 3 years prior. According to this letter, in 1801, local villagers were gathered near Portsmouth city centre for an open market, where farmers could come to trade goods and produce. When all of a sudden, a deafening shriek cut through the crowd. Villagers turned to see what all the commotion was about, and standing amongst them all was a grim ghoul with skin made of shiny copper. Before locals could figure out what the this thing was, the letter says the ghoul launched itself into the sky like a golden bird, and then he disappeared into the sky.
Sorry. He jumped away, is what you said?
He took off like an eagle.
He's a rocket. He's a living rocket.
It was, in my mind at this point, he's Iron Man.
Yeah.
He kind of just palms down, shot up into the sky.
What the Falkville?
I do love the fact that he keeps trying to make friends. It keeps going so wrong for him, but then he's like,
You know what? I'll give it a couple years. Things will calm down.
and then instead of, again, just like showing himself in front of one person, he just walks into the busiest marketplace he can find. And sorry, what was that? I assumed the ghastly piercing shriek was him, not someone who'd seen him.
Yeah, I like that. He's like,
Human civilization is too rudimentary. I will time travel to the future, 1801, when humans have accepted robots amongst them.
Right.
it's like, no, but you're way off.
He goes into a crowd. It's the same vicar from earlier. He's back!
Hello, friends.
Yeah. It's like, let me tell you, man, you launch down in Times Square today looking like this guy, People just think it's a Jackass skit.
Yeah, they're ready for you now,
They're ready
Metal
for
Man.
you now.
Yeah, because he kind of, yeah, you're right. He's kind of all over the place. He showed up a couple times. They hated him. He was like, I will wait for generations until they're ready. He waited 3 years, came back again. It clearly went very wrong. And then the next time he showed up was 1980s or whenever the sighting was in Falkville.
Right, yes.
So he did wait a long time and we still weren't ready for him then. He ruined a man's life. These accounts of the metallic creature caused widespread panic and confusion amongst the town people, leaving them wondering if these sightings were the result of mass hysteria or if there was something truly otherworldly happening among them. Kit, we now have 3 detailed reports of a Metal Man, all within a 3-year span, and all within the same area. A great thing that you want to see in a paranormal case.
It's true. It's true. I mean, we started off in Alabama, and then we found our second home, seemingly a more permanent one, in Britain.
Yeah.
And that seems to be where he's been most cited.
I originally, when I wrote this, it was very chronological. I started with the diaries, worked our way up through the sightings, went to the current day one. But it was much more exciting to start with the more substantial recent sighting, which is, I believe, the most famous version of the Metal Man.
Sure.
All the artistic depictions you see of him online. He's kind of got like, similar to Mothman, he kind of has like a bit of a cult following.
Really?
Like people think he's kind of cute and like silly and goofy, even though he is very scary. Like people have done doodle versions of him where he is kind of just a goofy robot that like, I guess maybe even crash landed. He doesn't even know what he's doing.
Yeah.
Which is, I get it. That's kind of adorable. But yeah, we have seen him multiple times throughout history. Sometimes he's referred to as the Metal Man. Others call him the Copper Man. He comes in many forms with many names.
Yeah, I never really knew what to make, I'll say, of a case which spans such a long time period.
Yeah.
Like, it's not really good or bad. With cryptids, it's sometimes bad.
Yeah. This is maybe one of the only cases where it's kind of fine.
It's
because
fine.
the implication is he's not biological.
Yeah.
He's made of metal. There's also, there's an argument here to be made where this isn't even the same dude. Yeah. This is just a phenomenon that has happened over hundreds of years. The same way when people say, hey, there was a UFO spotted in New Jersey this weekend. And did you know someone spotted a UFO in the Middle Ages?
Yeah.
The implication is those are two different things. So we could be looking at different metal men throughout history.
I mean, let's sink our teeth into that for a second, because I think something you've brought up, which you haven't actually said explicitly, is that it seems people are treating this as an alien visitation.
Yes.
You said otherworldly. And from that, I thought you meant interplanetary.
Right. Yeah. As I said, some people claim to see a UFO the night where Jeff had his encounter.
Yep.
And I will say, Walt Andrus, who's the director of the Mutual UFO Network, him and other UFOologists theorized that the Metal Man, if it was true, it could have been a robotic probe from an extraterrestrial landing vessel.
Yeah.
So maybe there was a bigger craft, but this thing was kind of sent down to do the wandering, to grab the soil. Same way when we send, the lunar landers or the Mars rover. We don't just send that. It's part of a ship. It's part of a craft that brought it there.
Sure.
To the Martians, they're telling stories about the metal dog that was spotted in the dusty mountains of Mars.
Yeah.
That's their equivalent.
I think this is the thing, is what else would it be?
Yeah. Paranormal-wise, that's kind of the only options we're looking at, unless it is an organic creature, and that's just what it looks like.
Yeah.
We do also have the other option, which is the current sighting was a hoax.
Yep.
And in the olden days, I don't know what it was. Maybe these aren't reliable witnesses. Maybe we're looking for a pattern that isn't really there.
Yeah, I'm assuming even Jeff didn't.
I don't think he knows now about
to
that.
Everybody else. Well, you see, in this small village in Hampshire.
I think some people even consider these to be different things. The Copper Man of Portsmouth and the Metal Man of Falkville.
Yeah.
They make a distinction between them. But I was like, you know what? This seems like a concept. Metal men coming to Earth. We're doing a catch-all today. Even though I do want to focus today on Jeff's encounter.
Okay.
I think that is important today. I don't want to rule out the possibility of more episodes on metal men. But today, let's talk about Jeff's, because I'm very happy to say that yes, while Jeff's story is a little ridiculous, it is a little crazy, the encounter is pretty otherworldly.
Sure.
Kit, I left out one crucial part of Jeff's story, and that is that the night he arrived at the field, he had a camera.
A word?
And we have photos.
No way.
That's right, because I knew...
This is the only police officer to not turn off their body cam when shit got real.
I know that recently you've been into your paranormal stories. You've been tracking the breaking UFO news.
Sure.
Just a few days ago, you showed me a video of an egg being lowered by a helicopter.
Well, it is a UAP described to be in the rough shape of an egg, but nowhere near the same dimensions as an egg. Much larger than an egg. Sure, it is white.
So I knew I could get you on board as we talked about the concept of an alien or an extraterrestrial craft. And I saved the evidence for last because I needed that bullet in the chamber to push you over the line. That sounds like I'm threatening you. I'm not threatening you. You know, there's a bullet in the chamber if you say no.
Yeah, the metaphors are getting mixed for sure. Hey, I'm listening.
I will say this does feel like a bit of a make or break moment because we are reaching there's nothing left for me to show you. There's very little to talk about. It really hangs on the picture, which I think the pictures are great. I want to point out, it was very dark.
Sure.
At that night, Kit has pointed out back then, cameras were limited in the amount of detail they could capture.
Really weird that he had a camera.
A camera? Yeah, I think
film camera.
The whole thing's a little weird because he was off duty when the call came in.
Yeah.
But I think it's a small town, so he's like, well, I'm one of the only police officers. I got to go check it out.
Yeah.
So he did grab his camera.
I've only had 3 beers. I can still
I can drive. Yeah. Okay, are you ready to see the picture of the Falkville Metal Man?
You said it's like a make or break moment. I would agree if, we're fine with the fact Humpty Dumpty has already fallen off the wall and he is smashed everywhere. But, it is still it's
all to play for.
It's all
to play for. All right, kid, check this out.
What? Okay, all right. We don't have one image. We have 4.
And let me tell you, this is 4 of about 18.
Right.
There are a lot of pictures that he took.
Okay. You really get what it says on the tin with these. This is, look, they're very low resolution, dark, very grainy, distant images. But some of them are punched in, and you can clearly see what is a metal man. I will also say, I think you kept this until the end because you knew I would have tapped out at the beginning.
That's not true. That's not true.
I
I just thought it would be, the story is important, and I wanted to tell it without bringing in the pictures because it might shape your opinion in one way or another. So I thought I'd save that for the end.
I was hoping that when he said it looked like he was wrapped in aluminium foil, I was trying to use kind of my creative imagination to what could that mean? Because it's the texture of aluminium. It looks exactly like that. It looks like they had to go to Walmart and get quite a few rolls of aluminium foil to make this one.
Yeah, I think in the description he said it had no lines or creases at all. This is a crinkly motherfucker.
Yeah,
it looks like a rotisserie chicken with legs that's been taken out of the oven.
Look, okay, it sounds like I'm beating around the bush. I'm not gonna say I don't believe this off rip. I'm just saying this does look exactly like if you wrapped your mate in aluminium foil. Like, because it is the proportions of a bloke as well. It's not Bender from Futurama. It's a bloke.
He even has like normal arms and legs and like
His
a normal
posture
body.
He doesn't have like good upright robot posture. His posture isn't even that good.
If anything, I wish he was 4 foot.
Yeah.
Because that alone would be like a little strange. Let me see if I can get you, because look, based off of the stories that people have told, granted, the picture isn't great, but here's kind of an idea of what people believe the Metal Man looks like. If you saw him with good photographs.
Someone made him into a Pokemon card.
They did, yeah, some artwork. Can you kind of see it? Like, he does have the head is the weird part.
Yeah.
The head is too big.
The head is too large.
That is not tinfoil wrapped around a head. It almost looks like, there is like a little antenna or something
there's
on
like
top.
there's a little helmet going on for sure. even the stance is it's funny. Like, I know we're saying
very defiant.
Metal Man. It is definite. There's no way this is a metal woman. This is a metal man. It's even something about the stance. You can see the outline of his legs and everything.
I mean, that is another option if you want to go super sci-fi, is that this is just a human that's come from, I don't know, another dimension, the future.
Yeah.
Because it clearly is like the proportions of a human being.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, more theories to add. As I said, the images that were captured by Jeff were sent to Walt Andrus, who was the director of the Mutual UFO Network. And sure, after reviewing the photos, all the analysts concluded that the incident was most likely a fabrication. Despite the fact that in some of the pictures of the Metal Man, when the flash went off, allegedly you could even see an object that looked like a UFO in the background behind the Metal Man.
Okay.
Even though Jeff himself says, I didn't see that, it was too dark.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this was really pitch black, flash goes off, and just a burst of metal in front of you.
Yeah.
That's essentially what happened. I have searched. There are some other paranormal stories that do kind of talk about metal men. I think we've had a few on the podcast before. One of my favorites being, I think it was an alien abduction in Russia. I don't know if you remember this one.
Yeah.
Where like 2 aliens came down and one of them was a robot.
One of them had a pole?
A metal pipe.
Yeah.
That he pointed at a child and the kid disappeared. Yeah, that was a weird one. Which, it's like, cool. Is that just another way of saying it was a gun?
Yeah.
He pointed the pipe at the kid and the kid went away. But this feels like a very specific thing, a very unique thing. A metal man appearing, whether it is a recon drone or whether it is a creature in itself or whether it exists at all. That's what we have to decide at the end of today's podcast.
It's
on the Metal Man.
It's actually, it feels very 50s or something, to be honest. It feels very like, even if it were a hoax, it feels like it should belong in the era of like flying saucer mania.
Yeah.
In the 50s, late 40s, into 60s. So weirdly, the 80s feels quite late for, even if it is a hoax, for something of this level.
Yeah, I think at one point, Jeff actually did say that it reminded it of him. Yeah, he said in an interview, whenever I was a child, I used to watch the movie Lost in Space. The robot in the movie, it kind of reminded me of that to some extent.
Yeah.
I don't actually know the robot from Lost in Space. I think I was a little young for that.
Yeah, Lost in Space it's been made a couple times, hasn't it?
Lost in Space robot. Oh, shit. Okay. Well, this is the first one I can find.
Yeah, I remember this.
But yeah, bulky. It kind of moves like a Power Rangers enemy, like big chunky body.
Totally.
Yeah, I can see this 100%. Very old school sci-fi.
Yeah, and its head, instead of hands, it kind of has claws to an extent, and then its head is like a bunch of like lights and valves and things. You know, it doesn't need to be the shape of a human, but they made it a shape of a human anyway.
Well, I think this doesn't really do us any favors because the reason the robot in this movie resembles a human is because there's a human in that series. That's not actually doing us any favors at all. Hopefully that's not why the Metal Man looks like a man.
Yeah, we're like, the head area is a bit too big, isn't it? It's almost like there's a head underneath where the robot's head is.
Look, I'm not gonna beat around the bush. We've reached the end of our story. A story which is funny on the surface, but I think actually has more paranormal history than you would be led to believe based on the name alone.
I agree. If we utterly change location and time period, we can find all kinds of interesting evidence.
All right, you son of a bitch. Hey, you're Mr. UFO. You said if I just say, was it an alien at the end? You're like, yeah, probably. Anything's possible. I told you this was going to test your limits of belief in the paranormal. Kid, do you think the Metal Man is real?
Are you the Metal Man?
Or do you think he's real?
He's real. No. I think you're wise.
No, you don't need to continue.
Don't act surprised.
You don't need to continue. You said the word. If you did, you're supposed to say a bunch of shit and then say no at the end. You just couldn't stop yourself from saying no immediately and then pretending like we're still friends. Wow.
I don't know why that would be a shock to you. I mean, I think you called it right. You said, let's only focus
Ouch.
on Jeff's Metal Man.
Guess I'm not a metal man. That one hurt. My human heart. Ooh.
Which...
I'm a glass man, apparently.
If we're focusing on Jeff, his is the least believable, probably, just because we have the photos and they don't look real. It does look instinctually like a hoax.
Yeah. I wanted to focus on Jeff's because I think if we're going to say that this thing is real in any capacity, this is the time where it's made the most dramatic impact. And it does have, unfortunately or fortunately, the most amount of evidence. I think you're right. I think this is a no. This is a no. I'm literally looking at the rest of the photos of the Metal Man. Look how close some of these are.
Yeah, it's a photo shoot.
He's like doing like,
he's
like inches away from me.
Because some of the images, bearing in mind, he starts off really far away. And then by the end, he's incredibly up close.
He's so close. He's doing like headshots.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bummer. You know, in kind of preparation for this podcast, I think Jeff Greenhaw is still alive today.
Starting to understand why he lost his job.
Yeah, he lost a lot. I think it got so dramatic that if you want to, I didn't have time to include this in the story, but his house burned down and the photos were stolen.
Damn.
Yeah,
Jesus.
which some people then start going down the angle of like MIBs and government came in to take the photos. I'm not going to do that today. But Jeff, to this day, if he is still alive, which I think he is, swears down. He was like, look, that's what I saw. It still now is really frustrating when people make fun of me and are like mean about it. Because he's like, it was real to me. Even if everyone else thinks this is funny, I'm just telling you exactly what I saw that night.
I mean, we have to remember that multiple things are possible, including the fact that someone was hoaxing Jeff.
Yeah, these are the possibilities. It could have been a hoax and Jeff still believes it was real.
Yeah.
It could be a real paranormal entity, and that's just what they look like.
Yeah.
He's like, look, I wish it didn't look like that.
Egg. It's like the egg video.
We're getting them back, guys. We're getting Kid back. We're almost it is like the egg, right?
Yeah. I'm just saying, I'm not saying I even believe the egg, but I'm saying there's a possibility. There's always a possibility that the first time we see a piece of real paranormal evidence, we might laugh at it.
Yeah, because it just might look kind of funny.
Yep.
Do you think I'm happy that it was a gorilla man? I wish I saw anything else. I wish it was a little like 4-foot gray dude running around. But I'm telling you it was a gorilla man because that's what it was. I have to just deal with that. I am Jeff. It's a no from me this week.
Got it.
Also, double no, unfortunately, in the case of
Rats.
the Metal Man. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. As soon as I heard this story, I could not believe we haven't covered it. This has TPL written all over it.
It does.
And now it's good that we have this character to keep an eye out for when we investigate more paranormal cases.
Yes.
As you said, it feels like this week, even in breaking paranormal news, we keep hearing stuff where we're like, hey, we talked about that 200 episodes ago.
Mm-hmm.
Something that matches this very description. So who's to say next week, next month, there's not going to be a little metal guy running around and everyone can be like, holy shit, this paranormal life were right. Well, they were wrong because we said he wasn't real. It
is crazy, isn't it? When you said it best, which is, it would be slightly arrogant to say that metal men from another planet is impossible when we've sent a metal dog.
We done it
to other planets.
Yeah, that's why I don't want to decide today that metal men coming from space aren't real. But Jeff's story, I think there's not enough evidence to credibly say it definitively was paranormal.
Exactly.
Which makes it a little bit easier today to come down on a double no. But thank you for joining, everyone. I hope, like the Metal Man inside of a fish market, you had a blast.
And if you didn't, you can kiss my shiny metal ass.
Nice. Because Futurama.
Because Bender.
Nice.
Catchphrase.
I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of the podcast. If you did, there's only one place you need to go, and it's not Falkville, Alabama. It's patreon.com/This Paranormal Life. Tell him why, Kit.
Oh, put me on the spot.
Tell him why, baby.
So, guys, doing the voice for some reason. And
Yeah, don't just...
Patreon
It should be easy.
is a place where there's episodes of... So you listen to this podcast because you like it. And there's more of those over on Patreon.
Yeah.
And
Just kind of
what
stumbling
else?
a little bit.
What else? There's some of them are...
I'll take it from
Most
here.
of them are good. Okay.
Because
sorry.
only a robot can perfect the sail.
Okay, go on.
Shit. Now I'm sort of stressed. Why was I programmed to talk while I think?
It sounds like doing the voice is distracting you from thinking.
Yes. Affirmative.
Yes. Okay.
Patreon.com.
It's a Patreon.com. It is the home of This Paranormal Life, ostensibly.
It is.
Where, since we started the show, as soon as we had the opportunity to, we were like, let's find a place to put extra episodes of This Paranormal Life where, for a small amount of money, people can get access to all of them at once.
Yeah.
And many of our listeners have been incredibly supportive and loyal over the years in supporting This Paranormal Life, making it all possible for us to sit in this lovely air-conditioned studio, so we have all the space and time that we need to make the best paranormal investigations we can. And they've been well rewarded for their generosity over the years with hundreds of bonus episodes, after parties,
Oh, yeah.
behind-the-scenes sneak peeks, tour pre-sale,
Yes. Tons of cool
pre-sales,
rewards.
physical rewards, t-shirts in the past. In recent times, it's a Night of the Commune gold coin.
Which is really cool. You've got to go over check it out on patreon.com. As Kid says, it's the only way we've been able to keep this show going, have a studio, have a little set where we can film all this stuff and keep all our cool paranormal artifacts. Also, as Kit said, we're getting very close to sex robots existing in the world.
Yeah, well, apparently.
And we are doing fundraising because also, as Kit said, Valentine's Day is right around the corner.
Yeah.
So are those things going to align themselves at the perfect time? I don't know.
Yeah.
We just need to make sure that we have 35 grand in the company's bank account
You think that's how much it's going to be?
for one of them.
Really?
Yeah. So sorry about that. The guy who's having double lunch is going to need first dibs.
Fair play.
But of course, one of the other cool rewards that you can get over on Patreon is a shout out at the end of an episode of This Paranormal Life. And that's what we're going to do right now. So thank you to James Trawley.
James Trolley loves getting trolleyed at the weekend.
Nice.
We call him the Metal Man.
Right.
We call him the Metal Man because he drinks so many tins of Stella.
Just sinking him back unaffected. Yeah.
Also because he's a 7-foot humanoid cybernetic organism.
Oh, Jesus. What is he drinking pints of?
My name's
Oil?
James.
I am James. You guys gotta hear this really funny podcast I was listening to. They sent me a coin. Do you see that girl at the bar? Do you think I should go talk to her?
Yeah, bruv, you got this.
Okay, thanks for believing in me.
Taps her on the shoulder.
Are you from Tennessee? You're the only 10 James sees, and James doesn't make mistakes when he evaluates women's beauty.
Are you doing slam poetry?
James doesn't make mistakes when he evaluates. I can sing to you.
This is a pre-recorded operatic voice.
Thank you also to Megan Walsh.
Megan, did it hurt? Did it hurt when you fell from heaven? I would not know, as I am James the Metal Man.
James, stop hitting on everybody, all right?
Yeah,
It's not...
Megan just wants to support the show. She just wants a little shout out. She wants to support her paranormal pals.
Hey, Shouty. It's my birthday. I was born in the year 3000 BC on a distant planet.
You're so old.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be at this bar, James.
I set my Tinder age profile problematically low.
Oh, too much information, James.
I'm sorry, Megan. We'll take him home. He's had enough oils, but we appreciate your support. Thank you to everyone who supports the podcast. Thank you also to the Metal Man. You know, I feel like he's due to come back any day now, and I just want to make him feel welcome when he comes back because we've scared him off one too many times.
Yeah, how do you think we do that? Play some metal music.
I don't know. Do the robot up to him.
Okay.
So he'd be like,
Well,
Oh,
with your
cool. We walk
award-
the same.
With your award-winning.
do the robot, make some noises like as you walk.
Yeah.
You know, we've been doing some great impressions today, so I'd say kind of copy those.
Yeah.
And we should be set.
Fire.
Keep your eyes peeled. Sometimes he comes out of a lake.
Like Jesus.
So
He was baptized. The robot was baptized.
thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed this week's episode, and we'll be back next week with another episode of This Paranormal Life.
Live fast, investigate, die young!